I'm Mike Uyak. I love to try new things, and I've had culinary adventures all around the world as well as right at home. I've had really wonderful food, as well as some really horrible food. I'd like to share some of my adventures with you, and we'll see if I have what it takes to fix whatever goes wrong. This is Recipe Redemption.
Oh, bonjour, mes amis. Okay. Pince-nez. It's even better. Oh, bonjour, mes amis. I am so happy you could join me. As you probably could surmise, I was feeling a little French today. So, I have myself a lovely glass of Beaujolais, a baguette, a slice or two of pâté, and a can of escargot. But of course,
Okay, I'm going to ditch the ridiculous accent. Now, typically, escargot is served in the shell, and so before I opened the can, I thought there's only going to be room for like 3 or 4 of them in there. But as it turns out, no shells, so there's plenty of escargot. But apparently, I was supposed to provide my own, and I don't have any. So the next best thing is an escargot pan, which I also don't have. This is an escargot pan. Equally good, and I've been thinking of getting one, is this takoyaki pan, which would work and is also a multitasker. You can use it for ebel skiver, the Danish pancakes, or for escargot in this case, if you have, 20 escargot like I have. But this mini muffin tin will do the job. And all that's left to do is put a dollop of softened butter mixed with garlic and minced chive and a little bit of salt on top of each one. Then place into an oven or toaster oven, cranked up on high for 4 or 5 minutes, just until the butter bubbles and is hot. Et voila, escargot.
so snails. A little bit of bread here just to sop up the garlic butter. When they're not overcooked, snails really are kind of like the gastropods that they are. They really are kind of like their cousins, the clams. Distant cousins, but cousins nonetheless. Obviously, they don't taste much like the sea because they aren't sea snails. They are land snails. And they pick up the herb and garlic butter quite a lot. But there is a meaty flavor to them. It's not quite like clams, and yet it is. I think it's more a textural thing. They have a chewiness like clams. When they're alive, obviously they're soft and gushy, but they firm up quite a bit in cooking. It's a very delicate flavor. And if you don't overcook them, they don't become chewy. However, it is quite easy to do if you cook them up any other way than this, where we just heated it long enough to sort of get the butter to bubble and sort of cook through the garlic a little bit. Obviously, these came cooked. Otherwise, they would just be a gelatinous mass and it would be gross and difficult to deal with. Probably used a little bit more salt. But they are not bad. Now, a word of warning. Do not just go out into your garden, pick up any garden variety snail or slug, God forbid, throw them in a pan with a bunch of butter and eat them. Do not do that. These snails have actually been raised specifically for the purpose of human consumption. So there are specific varieties of snail raised under clean conditions. So unlike wild snails, there is no chance these have parasites in them that can actually affect human health. Wild snails and slugs can possibly harbor bacteria, and in particular nematodes from the soil that when entering the human body, they wrap themselves up and actually interfere with your nervous system, could cause paralysis and death. So you want to avoid that. So get them canned or get them frozen. I have actually seen them frozen. I haven't seen them in a regular grocery store in a long time, but I have seen them in ethnic grocery stores, larger Asian markets, things like that. They typically have some frozen snails. Or on the internet, I got this can off of Amazon, so it is possible to actually get a hold of them for yourself rather than going to a fancy French restaurant and paying $30 for this plate. I believe this can was $6, $7, I think. So not the cheapest thing in the world, but also not the most expensive. And the preparation, again, is dead simple. Just garlic, butter, herb, and salt. I'm gonna mop up a bit of that garlic butter. Really quite simple and fairly tasty. I will say it is, because it is such an actual delicate flavor, the snails themselves, it really is sort of a vehicle for garlic butter. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But it does impart just a little bit of that sort of subtle meatiness and something else, even to the garlic butter that's left in the pan. So that's my snack, or I guess hors d'oeuvre. I'm about to actually have a real full dinner, but this was actually quite nice, and it's a nice treat from time to time. So I actually do recommend it. It sounds weird. I know people are a little weirded out by escargot, but the French are onto something. They're actually quite good once you get past the ick factor. So, until next time, I'd like to thank you for watching. I'm Mike Kuyak, and this is Recipe Redemption. Bye now.